Hello, this is E from Sewing in Color coming to you with this chunky braided fabric necklace. You can make this from different fabrics. And here I'm using a cotton fabric, light cotton. And you want the length to be about 400 centimeters and the width to be about 4 centimeters. Now, this can vary depending on the length you want the braided necklace to be, sometimes how wide. So, you may have your preferences. What you do with this long strip of material is you fold it in half, and as you see, you sew 5 millimeters from the edge. That's half of a centimeter. And you continue sewing. Um, some fabrics can be a bit difficult to deal with, especially sewing to the edge. Sometimes you have to use a serger because there are some fabrics that fray a lot, so that when you go to turn this tube of material inside out, you may have some problems. Problems being that the seam rips, and you have a lot of fraying thread and things like that. So you have to be careful about this. So now it's all done, and the next step is using some very strong thread, double threaded needle, and you want to really use strong thread here. You can double up on your thread, because while you thread this, I'm going to show you why in the next step. So here's what you use: a strong thread and you make a loop. Okay, here I've doubled, this is a double threaded needle, and I'm going to just, tie this in a way so that form a loop, a good loop. Here with this long safety pin, I'm going to insert this into the loop like this and push this safety pin into the tube like that. You can also use a needle, long needle, very long needle with thread, but the thread has to be really tightly sewn on to the end of the material, because then while you're going through, you don't want to have any problems. Here you push and you pull as shown, because we're turning now the material inside out. Okay, so you keep on doing this until you get to the end. Sometimes it's a little difficult, but you have to have a little patience and you pull slowly, because sometimes you really don't want to rip any seams or anything like that. You want this to be done as neat as possible. So here it's all turned inside out. The right side is this. And what you want to do now is you want to take some strands of wool. Here I used 14 strands of wool, and this is, of course, the 400 centimeters length. Okay, I strung them together, and at the end of this you want to twist it this way and sew it properly. You want to really sew it there again with strong thread, just for the fact that when you're threading these things through, you don't want the safety pin or needle, you don't want it, separating from the thread, because then you'll have to go do it all over again. So you continue, you sew as much as possible. You sew, some really good stitches there. So here you cut, and what you're going to do, okay, you even this out a bit because there are a lot of wool left on the end. So you take the pin, the safety pin, and you insert it in this way. Make sure everything's anchored properly. Strong. Okay. And what you're going to do is you're going to take this pin and you're going to thread it through this tube here, the tubular material you've created. And just, pull because it has to go all the way through the whole 400 centimeters. And you continue this until you get to the end. And go carefully. So here I've gotten to the end, and it's time to start the weaving process. So from the end, I'm going to mark off like 12 to even 15 centimeters. And this depends on you too, huh? You can even go more, you can go less, depending on how tight you want this necklace or how loose you want this necklace. So here I used like 12 centimeters. I marked it off with a piece of strand of wool. And then I'm going to mark off another. Here I'm going to measure about, I would say, 42 or 44 centimeters. Okay. And mark it again. So here's what this 42, 44 centimeters that, I'm measuring. This is going to be the length of where your necklace is going to end, okay? From top to bottom. So practically those two markers, they're the length of your necklace. So you can even try it around your neck at that point and say, okay, that looks good. You loop it in this way, and this loop again represents the loop that you're going to be weaving this tube into to form the necklace. Okay, so there again, you take that, you put it around your neck, you see, okay, well, this length looks good. I think, okay. If it doesn't, you adjust it accordingly. So from the marker, I'm going to start now with this long piece. I'm going to start weaving it like you're doing a braid, okay? You go, practically, it's like going in and out. You go, let's see, out, in, and then out, in. Keep track of the material of this long piece here. Out, then you go in, and you try to keep it here. I'm using a clothes hanger to sort of anchor the top. You can use many things. You can use this. You can use a clipboard. You can even use clothespins. No problem. Because I really need it anchored because I need to keep it steady there. Okay. And there we go again. So we go, or you can say like, you go, okay, out, in again. Here again, out, in, or up under, maybe out in's not that, good greater description, up under. And here is here. You can say up, okay, up again. Then you go under. And here you want to keep it, you because you want it about the same dimension, the same dimension. So you don't want it too tight, too loose. So you keep a check on it. Keep a check here. Push it up so you make it okay, and you go up again. You go under. Push it up like this, okay, and keep them nice and neat and not too loose. And here you go again, up, under, and in the meanwhile that you're doing this up under, at the end, of course, you have to unknot it because this long piece that I'm weaving creates a mess underneath, like so you have to keep like undoing it, unknotting it. You see all that those knots that are formed, so you have to just maybe anchor what you've done and just keep unknotting from the bottom. You unknot from the bottom, okay, like that. Here I've taken the clothespin to sort of help me out to anchor this part while I go undo the bottom. As you get closer to the end while you're weaving, you have less of this, less problem with undoing these knots. So, okay, so now we can continue because we've undone everything there at the bottom and we can continue weaving. Okay, so there you unclip and now go ahead up under, okay, up under. And here we've reached to the end. So we continue. And you go again. And you basically end up, because with this 400 centimeters, when you go calculate, you can end up with about like 15 centimeters there, more or less. Here I'm going to maybe, I'm going to compare the lengths, okay? Because you may want it even or maybe not. Even maybe it's better because the one part end you're going to have to do a loop and the other end you're going to have to do a knot. So here, try to calculate the way you want it. There, it's more or less, I would say like 12 centimeters. So it's not that long. More or less, like the other one. So we're going to now make a little knot here, okay? Because remember, this knot has to go into the loop in order to close the necklace. So you can tie it like this. And here you want to sew any frayed ends. And here for the loop, you can put the loop like this, needle and thread, and you just do a little whip stitch for the loop. Make sure the loop is big enough, okay, so that you really want to try first before you begin stitching. Try it with the knot, you get the knot, and according to the knot, that determines the size of the loop, the size of the knot will determine the size of the loop. And there, it's all finished. And here you have your chunky necklace. This is Eve signing off now. Have a great day.